Alright everyone, if this if this bitch doesn't work this time, you're not going to be able to see this upload anyway, so who cares, but like something is going on with my recording shit, and if it doesn't work this time, I'm giving up. But basically I wanted to do a review of Outside the Wire, and I haven't done a review in a long time, but I was curious because I'm curious to see where all the careers go from all the Avengers characters and see if they're kind of been able to flourish, you know, after it's ended, or they're going to be defined by those roles. And I haven't seen anything. I mean, Altered Carbon he was in, but I'm not sure on the timeline on that, when Avengers ended and when he was in that. And he was fantastic in that, man. That shit worked. I really love Joel Kinnaman though. I wish he kind of carried over from the first season, but Anthony Mackie pulled it off, man. I think the fucking season was fantastic. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Outside the Wire. And right off the bat, I'm going to say this film like left me like wanting more. You know, felt very average. There was nothing overly impressive about it. I felt like some pacing issues. I felt like some of like the plot was like very lacking in certain areas. Like things were underutilized, and basically I'll go through them. Anthony Mackie's character, Captain Leo, was basically an android, cyborg, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, please don't tell me they're going to do some sort of cliche where he was a soldier but he died in combat, and we're going to $6 man him, $6 man him, $6 million man him. Like, we have the technology, you know, and fix him up. But like immediately they tell you no, that's not the case. Like, he's always been a machine. He's like 5 years old. And the other guy, I can't remember his real name, but his character's name is Harp, and basically he gets sent to Captain Leo because he disobeys a direct order. He's a drone pilot, and 2 soldiers' lives are lost through that, like disobeying that order. And I'm not sure if there's a thing in the military or not about drone pilots. I know nothing about it, but instead of getting court-martialed or sent to jail, he is basically sent to Captain Leo to learn what it's like to actually be a soldier on the ground instead of just looking through a drone lens, you know, kind of being disconnected from, you know, real world ramifications of your action. Like at first when you see that guy, this dude, I was like, this guy's a fucking psychopath. Like, he's literally eating gummy bears like as he's flying the drone. Like, he couldn't look any more disconnected or bored, you know what I mean? Like he is playing a video game. And I guess that's supposed to be his whole character arc, you know, like as the film progresses and he learns more and more about like the actions of a soldier and what it takes to be a soldier. And I think that's what we're going for his whole character now. So he's one thing at the start, very cold, disconnected, and then at the end, you know, like saving human lives, know what it's like to be a soldier, all that shit. But basically, when he gets sent to Leo, you know, you're like wondering what his crack is, where you realise that he's always been an android, and then you get to see him in his kind of android body suit, and it kind of like, it doesn't camouflage, but you like can see through it, and then it's like hollow, very like minimalist. It's just like a bunch of lines. You see it, and then it changes back to his regular skin, and he like freaks out, and he's like, I will give you 60 seconds to like freak out, and then like, let's roll. And then he's like, cool, let's roll. And then it immediately starts, and I'm like, okay, cool, like we're getting into it, like this is going to be a kind of like good progression. We're already like rocking and rolling here. But I remember getting to like an hour and 10 minutes into the film, and I was just like, what the fuck? How long is this bitch? And because I felt like I'd been watching it for 2 hours, you know. And it was about half an hour, 35 minutes to go, and I was like, fuck it, man, we're gonna finish this bitch. And so that's what I mean about pacing issues. It just felt like once you get to about an hour or so, you're like, come on, man, let's get the ball rolling. I mean, the action sequences are good, but I just felt like they were very sparing, you know. Like, I felt like it's like one of these films where they want to save like all the best action to the end, you know, to be like really enthrall you and be like, whoa, that was cool, but it never really like done that. And of course his character as a drone pilot is like he's only done like basic training, you know, so he's not like fucking SAS Commando Marine Corps Force guy or whatever, like Ranger. And then so throughout the film, as you say, yeah, he does learn empathy or like realise the situation that he's in, but he still is only a guy with a basic training. So whenever that is, an action sequence, it's just Anthony Mackie just like fucking bang bang, like fucking boom, you know, like wrecking shit, and he's always just like, like fucking, like oh damn, or like holy shit, you know what I mean? And I'm just, I don't know, it feels really unbalanced. Because obviously he is the machine, you know, he's smarter, faster, stronger, and he's like the most basic like boots on the ground soldier you've ever seen. So it just creates this like weird, like super like fucking contrast. But this is why I picked this picture, which is so it reminds me. The third thing is like these are called Gumps. Basically the robotic soldiers, and they're like so underutilized in the film, but I mean like performance wise I feel like eventually they just become props. That's it, the props to remind you that the film's set in 2036. I felt like this film could be done today, but because he's an android they had to kind of shift it like 15 years in the future just to make it a little bit more believable that he is an android, just to drive that part of the plot. So anytime you see these guys, it's just like they're trying to drill, like remind you, you know, like it's 2036. Because they're so shit, like the crap, I'm like there's no way the military would pay for this crap. Because literally the first time you see one, there's this crazy firefight at the start, and it's just getting pounded by like raining bullets on it, and it gets wrecked. And then the second time you see one, if I'm right, there's a guy on top of a roof and he has this like frisbee grenade thing, and he just goes and like it targets it, and then just immediately attaches it and goes boom, blows it up and kills it. Like these things suck ass. There's no way they would pay for that shit. So like I just feel like it was more to keep drilling to you it's slightly in the future, you know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for them that you do see at certain points, there's nothing to indicate that it is the future. Everything looks like today, you know what I mean? Because this whole thing of his like android body you only see twice, maybe 3 times. First like the big reveal, the second time is when they have to remove something from, and then at the end. And yeah, so underutilized. I mean, there was just it's a film that you'll watch, and then like as soon as it ends, you'll like immediately forget about it, and like, it's so average, man. Like there's nothing special about the film whatsoever. I don't know if I mentioned the dialogue, but I mean, at the end of the day, Anthony Mackie is like an android guy, and he's the more machine type, and he's still got a personality and stuff, and I felt like he'd done his job well, done the action sequences well, basically job fulfilled, get cashed, you know, like but some of the scenes with this guy just felt a little bit weird. Like some of the dialogue didn't feel right, you know, because he's the one that's having all these emotional experiences, and some of it just felt kind of strange. Or like, I get in the war zone, if ever you're supposed to be, you probably would be swearing every 3 seconds, but there were times I'm just like, did the screenwriter or whatever, like the writer, just be like, what did we want this guy to see here in this situation? And just be like, just put fuck shit in there, that will work. Which makes sense in a war zone, because you would be swearing like a fucking drunken sailor, but sometimes I was just like, there's really nothing else you could have said there to like let, so when they does swear it has more weight. And then there was other just straight dialogue points where I was like, man, that didn't feel right. That just kind of felt like he says help at the end when he's talking to somebody else, like another drone pilot, and the way he says it, I'm just like, that was the most dispassionate, funky, weird feeling dialogue I've ever seen. But very average film, nothing special about it. I don't know, man. I'm gonna give this like a 4.5, 5 out of 10, mate. You know, basically, because I say the action sequences were good. I did like the kind of twist to an extent, but I felt they tried to drill a human element or morality a little bit too hard. But I'm not going to spoil that. But anyway, 5 out of 10, that's where I'm coming from. Hopefully this works. If it does, you'll see it on YouTube. If not, well, you'll never know about it, so who gives a shit. I'll see you on next.